Today is the perfect day to do a little bit of Christmas thrifted DIYs. Who's in the mood to do a little bit of elegant Christmas decorating? Let's get our DIY on.
Okay, for this first DIY, I found this green wire bell for 99 cents and decided to give it a little makeover. So I started with some white Art Minds chalk paint and I applied one coat to the top and then the sides and then underneath, and then I let that dry completely and I went in again with the white chalk paint and gave it a second complete coat. I wanted to give this bell a rusted look, so I started by going in with a touch of antique wax. To recreate a similar look, you're going to want to use a fan brush to apply this, and you're just going to want to lightly apply it to where you think the rust would form, and then go in with a lavette and give it a little bit of a wipe down so that you spread the paint out a little bit, and then go back in with that fan brush and just do that again back and forth until you form sort of a rusted base. You're going to want to apply this antiquing wax to the top of your bell or whatever wired figurine that you are painting, and you're also going to want to make sure that you apply a little bit of it to the sides because rust will definitely form on the sides and where the metal bits meet. And now we're really going to get our rust on. So you're going to want to grab yourself a Mod Podge and you're going to want to use that fan brush again and just paint a bit on and then sprinkle on some cinnamon. And you're going to want to apply the cinnamon with the Mod Podge to the areas where you think that rust is really going to form, and you can go in as thick as you want or as light as you want in different areas. Again, get those sides, make sure you add a little bit of Mod Podge to there and add a bit of cinnamon because that is definitely again an area that you're going to get rust formation. If you find that in any one area you think that you've applied too much of that cinnamon, no biggie. Just grab that fan brush and lightly wipe it away gently. And if you find then you wipe too much away, again, a little bit more Mod Podge, a little bit more cinnamon. This is just so easy. Anyone can do this. Okay, and then to keep all of that paint and cinnamon in place, you're going to want to finish off with a bit of Art's Matte Sealer Spray. You can leave it like this, or like me, you can decide to add a little touch of sparkle. So Dollar Tree had these white berry picks that had these gloriously frosted leaves, and I just clipped them apart, and then using my hot glue gun with a fine tip so that I didn't end up with globs of hot glue, I adhered the leaves to the top of the bell. And then I wanted to add a little something more, so I tried looking at how the white berries would look, but I found that it was just too much of a juxtaposition between the rusty look and the white of the berries. Instead, I thought that these slightly frosted pine cones from Dollar Tree would work beautifully. Now, all I did was clip them off with some wire clippers and then unwrap the wire that's wrapped around the pine cone. And then again, going in with a little bit of hot glue and that fine tip hot glue gun, I applied the pine cones to the center part where the leaves meet. I tried that white again to see if with the pine cone it would work, and no. Instead, I had these berries that were red and I spray painted them copper, and I just clipped these down. You can get these berries at Dollar Tree during the fall and winter months, and a quick shot of spray paint can make them any color you want, and then just go in with a bit of hot glue and adhere those around the pine cone. There you have it, a beautiful rusty holiday bell.
Merry Christmas, baby.
I found this ornate plastic plant pot at the thrift store months ago and knew it was going to be something Christmassy, just wasn't quite sure what. And then one day when I was looking at it, it suddenly occurred to me what this pot wanted to be. So to start off with, all that was needed was a little bit of white chalk paint on the entire inside and outside of the pot. Then using a glue gun with a nice big thick head, puncture a hole into the center bottom of the pot. And then I went in with a little skewer just to make sure that all the plastic was cleared away. Next, go in with a little bit of that antiquing wax and a foam brush and apply it all over the pot, making sure to pay a special attention to those ornate areas. You want the dark wax to get into those crevices and the parts that are more higher up on your pot to be the lighter white color. Use a lavette to wipe away any of the extra antiquing wax. Going for that perfect antiqued look. Using some twine rope, I went with a thicker kind. I added a little bead to the bottom of the twine. I painted this bead with a little bit of antiquing wax. It's just a large wood bead that I got in a mixed bag from Amazon. Threaded the twine rope through the bottom of the pot. Have you figured out what we're making yet? Quick! Drop it in the comments below if you have. I adjusted the rope so that the wooden bead sat just inside the rim of the pot and the twine hung out the bottom, and then I knotted the rope on top and then tied that into a loop. Our place this Christmas, we're doing frosty blue and brown glass, and so I had some of these green leaves left over from the blueberry picks used in another DIY video that I'll just link here above. And using my fine tip hot glue gun, I just attached some of those leaves, 4 or 5 of them, to the top of the pot, or the bottom of the pot. Depends on your opinion, I guess. I decided to add some of these Dollar Tree pine picks. They were a bit too long, so clip them down with some wire clippers, and then they'll fit into the arrangement a bit better. Then attach these with a bit of hot glue, arranging them in a circle on top of the blueberry greenery or whatever, matte greenery you decide to go with. Dollar Tree also had these pine picks that were sort of dark green on the bottom, and they had a bit of yellowy green. I'm not a huge fan of the yellowy green parts, but I did want that darker color on this arrangement, so I clipped those darker green ones out. Added those and some of those white berries that I didn't use in the bell DIY. Instead, I attached those and some more of these frosted pine cones to the top of the arrangement with a bit more of that hot glue. When I looked a bit closer at it, I decided that it also needed a few more of those pine picks between the top of the pot and the blueberry leaves, and so I just used some hot glue and stuck those in and arranged them so that it just looked a little bit fuller. And there you have it, a beautiful antique holiday bell. Tell me, did you guess it?
Making sure you've been behaving okay. Merry Christmas, honey. Yeah. The snowman's dusting off.
Okay, this next holiday DIY is silly simple. I found this pewter, I don't know what. If you have any guesses, leave it in the comments below, for $2.99. And I had a bit of floral foam on hand, little chunks pieces that I keep from larger projects. And a small pine tree. I can't remember if I got this from Dollarama or Dollar Tree, but basically all you need is a small, cheap Christmas tree. Mine was a bit too tall, so I had to bend over the wire ends. And then I just popped it in that floral foam, put that in the container, et voila! You have yourself a beautiful way to display a little bit of Christmas cheer.
Putting on the show for everybody, to give them a smile that lasts another year. There's something that happens when sleigh.
I am constantly finding these little wooden trays at the thrift store that are too small to be used for any type of serving. I found this one for $1.99, and then of course my percentage off coupon. And I decided to make this into a Christmas wall art. So I started off by going in with a bit of Folk Art 1 Decor paint in aged pine. And I applied this to the rim of the tray, the little spindles in between, and then the outer edges of the tray, and a little bit on the inside. Now, I didn't go all the way to the center with the green because I was going to be later on painting over that part quite thickly with some white paint. So I only did the edges, and then I did do 2 coats. And then once that had dried completely, I went in with the white chalk paint and I covered the entire tray with the chalk paint. However, along the edges and the rim and the outside rim, I went in with a very chippy, distressed look. I didn't want to go in like thickly. However, in the center part of the wood tray, you do want to go in with quite a nice thick coat of that white paint. You don't want any of the original tray base colors showing through. While your tray is drying, you're going to want to grab yourself a piece of printer paper and some white tissue paper, and cut down the tissue paper so that it's about 1/4 of an inch passed around the entire printer paper. Tissue paper has a shiny side and a matte side. You're going to want to print on the matte matte side, so make sure that when you're taping your printer paper to the tissue paper, the shiny side is against the printer paper. Cut a small slit in each corner so that it meets up with the printer paper corner. Fold each of the edges up, and then using several pieces of tape, adhere the tissue paper to the printer paper. Trim off any tissue paper overhang at the corners. I quickly and easily created a pine tree image on Canva and then printed it out on my printer. Without a doubt, this would work better with a laser printer, but mine isn't. It's an inkjet printer, and you can still do this. Just make sure that you let the ink on the tissue paper dry overnight. Leaving the tissue paper adhered to the printer paper, using a nice pair of small scissors, cut out as closely as you can the pine trees. Place the image exactly where you want it, working from the base of the trees. Using a small paintbrush, apply a thin layer of Mod Podge to the bottom of the tray, and then gently place your image on top, pressing down ever so gently with your fingertips. Then flip the tissue paper image back up, apply another thin line of Mod Podge, and do those steps again until you have the entire image on the tray. Let the Mod Podge dry, and then once dry, go in with a nice thick fluffy paintbrush and more Mod Podge to apply a nice gentle thin coat of Mod Podge to the top of the image. And then go in with a heat gun on low to warm that image up. Now that's going to get your paper to lay flat. It's going to warm up the Mod Podge underneath while drying the Mod Podge on top, and it's just going to make everything come together nicely. I think this came out looking like a holiday painting, but I'm dying to know what you think.
Merry Christmas, baby.
Okay, last but not least, our final farmhouse DIY. I found this picture for $8.99 at the thrift store minus my coupon, and I added just a few of those really inexpensive pine picks from Dollar Tree that we've been using throughout this video. Because we're going for a frosted blue look for Christmas this year at our house, I added a few more of those blueberry picks. I just cut them down into individual pieces, but really you could go with any colored berry. To add a different texture, a different green color, and a little bit of a matte greenery in the arrangement, I just added a few of those blueberry leaves. During fall and winter, Dollar Tree carries these large berries that kind of look like rose hips, but when painted dark navy blue, they look like blueberries. In the navy blue, I added some Craft Smart chalk paint in blue dusk. To recreate this look, you just have to use a makeup sponge and lightly dab on a bit of that lighter blue color until you get the look that you're going for. And then I just arranged a few of these larger berries in and around the arrangement just to give it a bit more interest. And there you have it, a beautiful, simple holiday decor piece.
If you enjoyed those Farmhouse Thrifted DIYs, make sure that you subscribe, give me a thumbs up. If you hit the notification bell right here, it'll let you know the next time I upload. Oh, and you might enjoy these.